down one night.
I love a whiteout. I love a whiteout. I want to go in the country, like chase some rabbits, spin around. I don't know.
Chase rabbits.
My dad would take Noah and Alex, but he takes that on the gravel roads. We'd shoot rabbits from the truck or the car, just depending on what he was driving. But he liked to hunt them when it had snowed because he said that the whatever diseases they carried. So, what'd you do as a kid when it snowed?
A lot of times, like we'd get the when the three-wheeler was running, we'd get the sled, and Dad would pull us around attach the sled to the three-wheeler, and drag us all around the pasture and stuff. End up just like covered in snow, like a snowman when we get done.
Good Papa tell Mama.
Wakey, 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 wakey.
Good Papa tell Mama.
Hi, I'm Coy.
And I'm Paulette.
This is Coy Paulette in the morning.
20 pounds heavier after dance. Oh.
So as you can tell, we are snowbound.
We are snowbound. Yeah.
So we're doing it by Zoom this week. So
I love a snowy day.
Yeah, no lie. It was kind of funny earlier. When I first got up, I thought it was supposed to start snowing like early this morning. You know what I mean? Like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And I got up this morning and there wasn't like a snowflake one. And so I made this smart aleck comment on Facebook about, 2 inches or 2 foot. I haven't even seen 2 flakes yet. And it wasn't 30 minutes later, I walked outside to start heading down and like the road was already covered. And then I was like, whoa, I think I spoke too soon. Wow.
Stop.
Yeah. Yeah, it was I think the last time I saw it was like 9 right now in Barzell. I have no idea what the wind chill factor is. There's no telling because the wind is blowing. Saying that though, the little Honda's getting around pretty good. So if anybody needs anything, give me a shout.
That's very nice of you, man. That's real nice of you. But keep in mind that safety first. Like everybody should just buckle down through today. There's hopefully not really anything anybody needs outside of their home, for 24 hours.
Yeah.
Try to make do without it.
The crazy thing is, I think it's supposed to be like 70 or 80 next week. So, welcome to Oklahoma.
Don't forget your animals. So the reason I'm sitting here is because the drifts of snow keep coming through, and it's awesome to watch them come through. So I was hoping that it would catch on the laptop, but wait, yeah. Well, let's run through the course of what we're gonna do today.
Sure thing.
And back on with what we do every day.
Well, we talked about kind of going with a little bit more off the Mullendorf thing because it seemed like everybody seemed to enjoy that. Like I said, I don't want to necessarily turn into a crime show podcast, but the Labadee Mansion and the whole thing is also up there close to Mullendorf Ranch. Actually, it used to be part of Mullendorf Ranch. And always heard the stories, that it was haunted and all these different things. And doing some research, man, I'm kind of upset because the story and then what the story that came about after that is like so totally convoluted. It's like I don't even know where they came up with the stuff for the scary part of the story. You know what I mean? It's almost kind of demeaning to the to the people, because according to the actual story, they had actually were had built a place out there on it's what's now Mullendorf Ranch, but they were a big ranching uh family themselves, and they had this real nice house out there, had like three fireplaces and everything. Um, one of the heaters or something, I think basically what it was their nephew found them the next morning after they had yeah, and from carbon monoxide poisoning. But then the story that came about was all this stuff about infidelity, and the wife was cheating on the husband with their slave, and all this crazy stuff, and got pregnated, and the husband was mad, so he killed the baby and their slave Enos and everything. It's just
Yeah, there are several different convoluted stories
right, right.
from there. Caused something like that to go around, you
Right.
know.
Yeah, where did that come from? And why are there so many reports now of people that have gone out there in the years or whatever and have had like what they claim as paranormal experiences and stuff out there?
Paranormal. Yeah.
I mean, if it is, I mean, why would it be haunted necessarily if it unless it's just they're upset because everybody's talking bad about them?
I mean, you know, unless there was suspicion of wrongdoings in their death back in the day,
Right.
you know.
Right. I mean, and that almost have to be, well, I guess not have to be, but that's probably a pretty good reason as to why it would have gotten goes so convoluted. Um, because it is really strange.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
wait, I printed out some stuff that we can kind of. I've got the official story, and then I've also got a couple of well, the main story of the scary story. Um, I've seen a couple, but most of them say pretty much the same thing. Well, I mean, what was there anything that you found? Was there anything you found that was like different or out of the ordinary from like the story as far as
I read two different versions. I read
sense? Yeah, yeah, and that was the whole thing. So one of the things I read, like you, was that they they couldn't have kids, and then she came up pregnant, and it ended up obviously being the slave's baby. But
Right.
then later on in that same, I mean, two or three paragraphs down in that same story I was reading, it's talking about their four kids, and I mean, so it's like, now wait a minute. I mean, where did the kids go? You know what I mean? I mean, how did they? In one story, there's four of them, and in the next story, they can't have kids.
And you know, we went out there to cemetery and drove out to where we think Cloudy House is from what our memory serves us. But what I have, you know, I've been out to the cemetery. I've driven down that road where the cemetery sits multiple times.
Right.
It's been more than once that we've paused briefly, you know, to pay respects or to be a tourist.
Right. Right.
You know. But I've never noticed those headstones next to where the lavdies are. That's in the fenced-in area, and there were headstones right next to it.
Right.
And now I'm even more curious as to, you know, what are those stories?
Right.
I could have sworn that the whole Catman tied into the Lavity death.
I did too.
How does that tie in? So
I did
that's
too.
what
And I tried. I did. I I Googled every possible way I could of trying to find something about, Catman around Copan, Oklahoma, and all that, and tied to Labadee, all that, and I couldn't find anything about it at all. I mean, it was one of those stories that, I mean, when I was a kid, it kind of went around, you know what I mean, in school and everything, but you would think as popular as it was, I mean, because I mean, it wasn't just like my class, I mean, it was we heard that
Right.
I heard that from like, yeah, from kindergarten, on up. And my cousin, he grew up around Hewlett and stuff. He went to Bowery and stuff. And when we was kids, we went driving around down there, you know what I mean? And so I mean he knew where some of those places were and stuff. And for that many people, I mean, to have heard these stories and to have gotten that around, it's crazy to me that there's not any kind of information out there. I mean, I say that. I guess there maybe if we went to like the library or something, maybe we could look into some old Examiner Enterprise stories or something. But you would think that would be out there to find. I don't know.
Yeah, you would. You'd think that it would. And maybe we just need to dive deeper with it.
Might have to. Might have to.
Well,
Um, but on so on the paranormal side of the stuff, I've got a couple of videos clips saved. Now I haven't seen anything in any of these videos or anything. But there are claims of people that have been out there that they hear like somebody will say their name like while they're walking around in the old ruins of the old mansion and stuff. They'll hear their name being called or hollered from outside the walls, or they'll hear people crying or just voices in general.
yeah.
Um, and then I have heard also that like one person said that as they were leaving, they heard like a weird noise and they turned around and a fire had started in one of the fireplaces, just like, oh, I mean, in totally engulfed fire. Um, so the paranormal stuff about it is kind of crazy. Some of the stories and stuff I've heard, kind of
Yeah.
fun.
And whenever I was younger, I did go out there with a group of kids, and I mean, it was creepy. The walk was scary. It was in the dark.
Yeah,
They didn't, the people that knew how to get us there, were telling us we couldn't use flashlights because, that would alert whoever, and supposedly they come and shoot you. So, I'm already years at the height back.
yeah, yeah.
And yeah, um, actually, I remember us talking about stories of people hearing voices while we're walking the trail to Labadee House. I mean, I remember talking about that on that path, and it just there's a there. It's a trip going out there at night.
Yeah.
I've never been out there in the daytime, like to what remains of it, but I'd love to take a metal detector and go out there and see what we can find. But yeah, I think that ultimately, behind the end of this one, it's a sad story. Two people lost their lives.
Yeah.
From what we understand in reality, to carbon monoxide poisoning.
Yeah.
Whether or not there was any wrongdoing, if it was accidental, happenstance, or if there was some foul play involved, is that what is that?
Right.
But Labadee House does continue to remain a legend of ghost stories.
For sure. For sure. So I did see.
Wait.
Yes. No, go ahead.
I believe, went out there like Labadee, and then we went to Mullendore and then heard the whole ambulance thing. I believe that there was no actual emergency vehicle around. I believe we experienced a very paranormal encounter, and I have the recording of the thing, and you can hear it get closer.
Yeah.
But I shut the camera off as it's going away. But we never saw anything.
Right. Well, the
You
thing
know?
about it is yes, you can hear it get closer, but before you turned it off, you could also hear it getting farther away.
Yeah.
And it never passed us. It never went by us. There was never any like it was during the day,
There's
but you still would have seen some kind of like light reflection from the, I mean, from the red and blues. There was nothing. I mean, and it's not like we were in some little hole, I mean, where we couldn't see around us. The road was right there. I mean, we were right at the end of the road by the stop sign, and there was nothing. It was crazy. Well, I think we can figure out a way we can get it on here. We'll put it together with this and let everybody see. But yeah, it's kind of weird.
Actually, I wanted to ask you something about that.
Yeah.
It's probably weird to do it while it's being recorded, but I'm going to. Do we know what time? Do we know what time that whole Molador thing happened that night, the night of his death?
Um, I never saw anything about like an official time of death. Um, the most I could ever figure out was it was it was like late at night, like in the early, like maybe early morning hours of like whatever day that was. Um, but I mean, we don't know that.
Yeah.
Um,
The reason I ask is just because I wonder if, does time really play with paranormal? Does time really play in essence of when any kind of an encounter happened?
Right.
Because it was the middle of the day. We heard a siren that came and left.
Yeah.
Not nothing.
Yeah.
On the one road. Like,
Yeah.
in any of the directions.
Right. Right. Um, it's, I don't know. So I will say from what the, Osage County Sheriff was saying, he went and picked up the, um, I believe it was the district attorney of Osage County at the time, went and picked him up, and they went out to Mullendorf. And as they were getting to the road going up to the ranch, which is right there where the crossbell thing is, where we were parked, is where they met the ambulance coming out. So we were sitting right there where, yeah, they met each other coming out. Yeah. Um, man, it's dang it, now you got goosebumps and shit. um, yeah, that's really spooky. And then whenever we were there at the little cemetery there at the side of the road that first time when I was recording with my camera, I still think it was just like the sun coming through, hit it, and kind of made it go wonky there for a minute. But it was really odd that in that one spot in the little cemetery area, no matter which angle I was at, and when I was pointing at that one certain area of the cemetery thing, it would get all blurry on my camera. And like I'd point it back the other way and it'd clear up, and I'd point it back and it'd get all blurry again.
Yeah. And then we also noticed in some of the video footage that I took when we were at Mullendorf, where we heard the siren that we never saw any vehicle for. Remember, it kept trying to, like, in the video, I didn't notice it at the time, but in the video looking back, you can see it trying to zoom in on something.
Yeah.
It keeps changing its focus, zooming in and out. But couldn't figure out what that was about either. So, I'm a believer in paranormal.
Yeah. I've seen enough stuff that I know there's something else out there.
It was not trying to be a paranormal.
No, that's the thing about it. It's just we weren't going out there ghost hunting or anything. It was we were just going out there to tell a story, and yeah, the siren came. um Do what?
What's next for us?
Well, I did look up. Let's see, there's a couple other places there. Gravity Hill is another place around the Bartlesville area that's supposedly over by Gap Road. Um, there was something I saw. Where was that? There was something else, some kind of like little cryptid thing that's supposed to be over by Gap Road somewhere. It's like oh, what did they call it? It's at the other end of Gap Road.
That Indian cemetery?
It might have something to do with that. But there's like supposedly like a tall like shadow figure that runs around in the woods over there. And I'd never heard of it. I was looking up the uh well, I was trying to look up Krabby Bridge stuff and then came across the um Gravity Hill stuff over there at the end of Gap Road. And then that story I was reading, it said on the other end of Gap Road from Gravity Hill, which I'm assuming would be out here by 123, kind of by me. Is I mean, I'm thinking the other end because Gravity Hill's over by like if you're going to the Atoka Church and all that. Matoka. But anyway, they said on the other end of Gap Road, there was some kind of shadowy demon figure that runs around in the woods in that area.
Huh.
And I'd never heard that one. Yeah, that was crazy.
I'll have to go see for you.
Right? I don't know. That's a good question.
Oh. No, but for real, I do have a client that's looking for 20 some acres on the east side of Broken Arrow that's undeveloped. So if anyone has any property they're looking to sell, please reach out.
Cool.
Thanks. Awesome.
Right. We got a buyer right now also. We're looked at a couple places. I think we might have found the one yesterday. It's a pretty nice little place actually. Honestly, I kind of hope we can get it in this one. I think this would be a really good fit for them. She's got two of the cutest little girls. We walked in and we hadn't been there just a couple of minutes, and they were running around and like, "This one's my room. This is my room. This is my room." It was funny. But yeah, I'm really hoping we can do something with this one for them.
That's always fun.
Yeah, yeah,
They can envision themselves. It's cute.
yeah,
They're fun.
yeah.
I love going to families. Well, speaking of,
Yes.
where are we at with time on this video? Do we still have time for more footage or are we at the end of it?
We got 10 minutes. 9 minutes. 9 minutes, 56 or 50 seconds. Okay. Let's see. We were gonna talk about like properties or whatever up around that area, but I really didn't see anything right now that's active. I mean, really worth. Um. Oh, I know. We need to talk about our live. About yes,
Gonna get one.
yes.
This be just a open chat discussion to say hello if you like, and if you've got any questions, please bring them to us. But we'll be going live.
For sure. We talked. I was gonna say we talked about this week, but with the travel conditions and everything, and all that stuff, yeah, we're gonna push it off to next week, when we can actually be in the same room while we're answering questions. So, how are we gonna do that? We just gonna have them call us up one of our numbers and just do them live.
So while we're live, I guess Just try to read the comments.
Okay. We'll
Go.
definitely let them know a special. We'll definitely put the time and date and everything. That way you'll know exactly when we're going to go live. And if for whatever reason you're not going to be around a phone, I guess at that time, you can always text us your questions earlier, and we'll read them, read them out loud.
So try.
For sure.
Oh, really?
If you're looking for a house, I mean, let us know what you're looking for. Yeah, for sure. All kinds of stuff. Actually, there was a couple things. I did like a post on Facebook, like a couple of sample questions I threw out there, like what's the difference between a porch and a patio? I mean, just any kind of questions, related to real estate or anything like that, or something you've always kind of wondered but never really had to ever ask anybody. I mean, stuff like that.
I wonder if we could like call Carol and get her in on it, and then call Ashley over at the title company, and then like the next thing you know, there's 6 of us live waiting for someone to ask a question.
That'd be cool.
That would be great. That would be great. But that's next week.
Yes, this will be next week. So, I had to quit saying that. Say that all the time.
Beetle pulling thread.
Speaking of snow, I did see while I was out and about earlier, there was a couple of little handwritten notes out at like the convenience store and stuff. The Be the Light mission, their warming station is open today. They'll be open probably like the rest of the week. I mean, from what I'm understanding. But they are open right now. If you need a place to get in and out of the cold here in Bartlesville.
And there are around the Tulsa area.
Yeah.
Like Salvation Army is a warming center, and I believe Bartlesville's got a Salvation Army too.
Yeah. And then there's also I believe I almost don't want to say anything because I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure Humble Road Church, I believe they have a warming station also. I could be wrong on that, but I think they do. And then, like you said, the Salvation Army, and of course, Be the Light, in Bartlesville. And then there's also one in Coffeyville. My cousin shares that one quite a bit. I can't remember the name of it right now. I'll put it in the comments later or something.
Like Johnson. Tulsa. I mean, there are places. So if y'all see someone out there that needs to help them get out of the cold, take them to one of the centers.
For sure. And speaking of which, if you've the clothing drive is still going strong, so if anybody's got any donations or anything they need to make, get a hold of me. We'll get them taken care of.
Yeah, should do that. All right, well, we'll be bringing more info about what we find out. We've got some great urban legends about bandits that ran through Oklahoma and Kansas, and we've got a lot of history.
Yeah.
With different people around Oklahoma that I think we're gonna share more light into, right?
Yeah, I think so. Oklahoma's got as we started with the why Oklahoma and living in Oklahoma and all that, live in Oklahoma. The whole idea was, what is it we enjoy about living in Oklahoma? Because a lot of times people from outside of the state, why in the world, what's in Oklahoma? Why would you want to live there? And Oklahoma really does have a lot of rich history and people and things that have happened and stuff. So yeah, I think we're going to kind of start digging into that a little bit more and just kind of letting everybody know just some of the cool stuff about Oklahoma and people.
Agreed.
So
I
so yeah, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. Yeah, the outlaw thing, that'll be cool. That'll be really cool. Like the outlaws and stuff from around the area, because there was quite a few. And I haven't even really gotten into that one yet, but just a little bit of scratching the surface. There's actually quite a few famous outlaws and stuff that were either from Oklahoma or spent time in Oklahoma or came through Oklahoma. So a lot of cool stories there.
from Western outlaws to
Yeah.
get
Right. I think we ought to look into some of the uh artists and musicians and stuff from Oklahoma too. Some of the musical history.
got a very rich history in Oklahoma. We can definitely highlight many things in the upcoming segments of living live. You know,
Heck yeah. All right. Well, I think that's about all I got. How about you?
that's it from me.
All righty. Well, everybody stay warm. Still trying to check out your view there. It seems like I think you've gotten a little bit more snow since we've been talking.
It's just
The frozen tundra.
all right.
All right. We got a minute and a half. All right. We're out of here. We'll see y'all later. Have a good weekend, a week. Stay warm. And I'll see you soon. Hopefully, you can get down there.
I hope we're not. Wrong place at the wrong time in a minute. Oh no. If you're getting closer, it's an alarm.
There's a ranch up there by Hilo that uses like a siren, and the woman's like basically calls cattle. But
You notice we're out here during the day. Camera just went out of focus. Okay, that was weird. There we go. Jesus.
Good day.
Kinda. It's kind of gloomy.
It's a little gloomy.
A little fitting for where we're at.
Yeah. So I don't know if you can see what's behind me.
It's like some kind of cement structure.
So we're just parked right outside of the Labadee Cemetery.
It's really quiet out here.
And if you can see in there and you can see that the gate is open, we did not open it.
No, that was not us. And I don't think it was open last time we were here.
Mm-mm. Also, next to where the lavity plots are, there are a series of other stones, one having a name on it that says Bowers, that I've never seen before.
No.
In all the years of coming out here, ever. But I did not cross your fence.
We'll have to, when we have signal, get back to town. We'll have to check out see how the Bowers is connected to Lebanon. Now I'm curious.
I noticed that one of the headstones said, "Sometime we will understand."
Oh, wow.
So Frank and Samantha,
yeah,
passed away on April 1st.
April 1st, 1935, which means the 90th anniversary of that is coming up. Crazy.
90 years ago.
Yeah.
And we're gonna dive into the story of Labadee House and the Labadee stories, because officially they died from carbon monoxide poisoning in their sleep.
Right. There's a whole other urban legend, I guess, or a whole other story that, if we were just talking about a minute ago, where it's totally off the wall compared to what the actual story is. So, I mean, where did this come about? And supposedly it was, which kind of ties some of these places that we're going to talk about also in together. Supposedly, the other story is that Samantha was having an affair with one of the servants and had a baby because of it. And Frank obviously found out and threw the baby over the bridge up here, why it's called
Crybaby Bridge.
And then also killed the servant.
Right.
And then, so one story I read, it was like all happened all at one time. But then another story I read said that that happened, and then later on April 1st, he ended up killing Samantha and then jumping out of the window of the top floor of their Labadee mansion.
Yeah, the ghost of the servant was haunting.
And he kept hearing the baby cry from the bridge down the road. So that kind of has Crybaby Bridge is tied in. Now, you talk to 100 people, you probably hear 100 different stories and what they heard growing up and stuff too, though. So
the question is,
how did we get from carbon monoxide poisoning to
full blown
mass murder scene situation?
But, is it murder suicide?
Well, yeah. Well, I guess it would be a murder suicide, technically.
But I also read that they had kids.
I did too.
So
there's that.
Anyway, we're gonna dive into it.
And then, so we just talked about Mullendorf. Mullendorf is just a strange deal and all the right way around. The Labadee has more paranormal side to it because supposedly, whenever I was looking it up, it came up a couple times. Supposedly, Labadee Mansion, what's remains of it, is supposed to be the most haunted area in northeast Oklahoma. They hear voices. They've seen shadows and stuff. I've seen stories where people have walked out there and seen a full-blown fireplace going in the fire. A fire going in the fireplace. And then, actually, in the 80s, there was a lot of the structure still left, but there was another fire, and it burned pretty much so to where now, I guess, there's only like one wall, and maybe the fireplace wall is still standing.
Damn. Well, at least the fireplace wall
which
did its job.
It's kind of crazy on that.
If those are headstones, that they definitely look old.
Yeah. Honestly, the Bowers one looks almost older than Frank and Samantha's.
Mm-hmm.
Just call them by first name on a first name basis.
You're sure there are a couple in the fenced-in area that look older than
Right.
theirs.
And then there's also one there in the corner that's newer than
Mm-hmm.
the rest of them. I will say I don't get any weird vibes out here.
You don't?
I mean, not. Yes, it's a dreary day. Yes, it's kind of just adds to it a little bit, but nothing more than like in a normal cemetery. It is kind of weird with the gates open. Oh my God, what was that?
Don't do that, boy. It's not funny. Not funny. Well, 90 years, at least. It could be. But those are over 100 years old.
Probably. All right, let's go find Krabby Bridge. Okay. I've been abandoned at Crybaby Bridge. If anyone gets this, please tell my family I love them.
2 hours later.
Okay, we might be okay. I think she's coming back. She's so funny.